I saw this. These are young. Look at this. Is high school. Look at this. San Francisco. And we could show 10 more of those. Oh, that just came up over the last 24 hours, Noah. Like the Israel hatred and frankly, the Jew hatred runs deep.
Yeah. I have sort of I think for some of the Muslim students, there is a very specific anti-Semitic aspect of this, but I actually have like an even darker kind of take on this, which is like, this is wokeism. This is actually one of the frightening things about the past 2 weeks that, I work a lot on education policy issues and kind of battling woke stuff. And I sort of thought that I understood I understood them, and part of me kind of didn't take them very seriously, like these snowflake kids talking about their microaggressions and their trigger warnings and all this stuff. And you sort of thought of them as like, these kids are kind of pathetic and weak and fragile. And then you see them like screaming for bloody murder and like supporting the beheading of toddlers. And you say to yourself, my God, like the rhetoric about decolonization, about by any means necessary, about resistance, like the jargon they've been throwing around over the past few years, over the past 10 years, they really mean that. And we know they really mean it because when there was actual terroristic violence of the worst kind, Einsatzgruppen, like World War II style Nazi killing, they think it's great. They mean it. And so I think this is a huge turning point in the battles over the kind of woke DEI world, because I think this was an enormous wake-up call for a huge number of people who didn't really take these people that seriously, thought it was a campus problem, thought it was a problem among, 18, 19, 20-year-old doofuses and their doofus professors, who realized that like, actually, these people are bloodthirsty savages. And they don't just want to kill Jews. They would kill us too. They would kill our society. They want a revolution in which the kind of peace and prosperity of Western civilization itself is destroyed, because they say it openly all the time. And it's time for us to all like take their language seriously. And I think we got to clean house in the universities. I think we got to clean house in lots of places because these people are evil.
Honestly, it's like, I want to make sure Hillsdale stays alive and well. We got to keep the path open to the normal universities, because in no world would I ever send my child to Columbia, to Harvard, to Penn, UPenn. My God, these are all the top Ivy Leagues. And by the way, NBC News poll just came out of college students. 86% say they are aware of the October 7th attack. So keep that in mind when you hear these numbers. 86% are aware. 33% say that attack was either justified or at least not terrorism. That wasn't terrorism. Of college students. Dave, holy shit.
Yeah, indeed. No, look, listen, Noah's absolutely right that this is intimately linked to progressivism, wokeism, political correctness, call it whatever you want. When I wrote my first piece about this about a week and a half ago, criticizing these college students, right? I was working with my editor at the Daily Mail, and I said to him, what am I criticizing them here for? What is the accusation? Am I accusing them of being anti-Israel? Am I accusing them of being pro-Hamas? What exactly am I accusing these people and the New York Times and the Democrats and these people of doing? And he said to me, what we're accusing them of is a bias in which if there is a conflict between oppressed brown people and oppressor white people, it doesn't matter what happens in that conflict. The oppressed people are on the right side of it, right? George Floyd riots, right? Oh, well, we don't want anybody burning down cities and having people die in those buildings. But of course, at the end of the day, they're right. Right. The trans issue. Well, yes, of course, we don't want women to feel uncomfortable in prisons and shelters. But because the trans people are more oppressed than the women are, ultimately, we have to come down on the side of the trans people. It's exactly what's happening with regard to Israel. And there's nothing that Hamas could do. We know that now, right? We now know that Hamas could poison the water supply tomorrow in Israel. And these same people would say, well, they're on the right side of history.
Right.
Noah's right. You have to rip this out by the roots.
President Biden doesn't get that. He's not understanding, as I think the rest of us are, that wokeism and believing that Jews should be able to live, they don't really go hand in hand. We've seen that. Like, look at BLM Chicago. Look at all these leftists, like what Ta-Nehisi Coates posted the other day. It's coming apart, like the veil's coming off. And he doesn't get it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone here in his speech last night when he had the attention of the American public. SOT 3.
And here at home, we have to be honest with ourselves. In recent years, too much hate has given too much oxygen, fueling racism, the rise of anti-Semitism, and Islamophobia, right here in America. And I know many of you in the Muslim American community, the Arab American community, the Palestinian American community, and so many others are outraged and hearty, saying to yourselves, here we go again with Islamophobia and distrust we saw after 9/11.
I don't know. It was so annoying. This particular thing, what we're seeing on our college campuses, is anti-Semitism. That is the issue today. Do not try to broaden it out and tie it to all your priors on how you think Americans are racist and bigoted and anti-Muslim and so on.
This is it's part of the one of the most maddening things of when you see how progressives do politics, which is that they have a set of narratives in their mind about how they want the world to work. And how they want the world to work in America is that America is a horribly racist society, and it's an Islamophobic society, and it's a violent society and oppressive, because these are all things that kind of, I think for progressives, put them in the role that they want to play, which is like heroic, protesters for justice. And so it doesn't matter if the reality doesn't actually fit the narrative. They will just continue on with the narrative. And so the narrative is like, there's a lot of Islamophobia in America. Well, there actually isn't. The FBI hate crime statistics just came out for last year, and there was a significant increase in anti-Semitic hate crimes reported, vastly larger amounts of anti-Semitic hate crimes in America than against Muslims. There actually, after 9/11, was barely any Islamophobia, actual actions against Muslim people in America. But you have this desire to portray the country as racist, and they will keep doing it. There's not enough supply of actual racism or Islamophobia in America to keep up with the demand that the left wants to portray the country this way. So they just kind of invent it. So you see Biden giving this speech where it's like he's denouncing Islamophobia that doesn't actually exist. It's maddening.
Freelance work is booming. So many people are taking the leap and starting their own business, but how do you maximize your earnings and minimize your taxes and make sure you are legally compliant? It can be overwhelming, confusing, and it takes time away from your own billable hours. That's where the experts at Collective.com come in. Collective was built specifically for businesses of one that are making over $60,000 in profit a year. Collective handles all of your back office work so you can focus on your passion and not your paperwork. And they can tell you how they can backdate your S-Corp and save you thousands on taxes this year. They handle business formation, compliance paperwork, taxes, bookkeeping, accounting, even payroll. Check out collective.com/Megyn before October 31st to potentially save thousands of bucks on your 2023 taxes. Yes, 2023 taxes. To sweeten the deal, they will also throw in an extra $100 off when you use my link. But you got to do it before Halloween. That's collective.com/Megyn to get started with your personal team of self-employed tax experts. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.